heritage, long civilizational history, and our culture, if you see in totality, India has got everything what it gets to become a leading nation. But at the same time, if you see the reality, we got independence in 1947. Till now, we have crossed 78 years of India's independence. The biggest question which keeps coming to my mind is, why India is not a developed country yet? What is it takes for a nation to become a developed country? I have traveled the length and breadth of the world. In fact, after becoming minister, my traveling schedule has been reduced. Of course, as a minister, I travel, but all those countries are where I have already been to. So I'm not making any addition to the numbers of countries I have already traveled. Before 2004, I had traveled 155 countries. So after 2004, there's no new addition. So that doesn't mean that I'm going to quit politics. So I'll be in politics for some time. But what I mean to say is, if you travel, if you see the globe, if you understand the world, you understand yourself better. If you don't know the world, then you will not realize what you are. The comparative outlook will not strike you. So during my extensive traveling, I saw many countries which are actually not seeing the dawn of development yet. Very primitive, very backward. But there are countries which are defined by the global standards as developed countries, especially the Western countries and the Oriental Far East nations. But if you see the Far East nations, leaving Japan aside, all other countries, we are those groups of countries which started our modern development journey together. But now you see the per capita income of Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, China, multiple times, many-fold more than us. And if you see the level of infrastructure and development, it's at a different scale. So those things were striking me very hard. So I was all the time thinking that, what is it that India could not become a developed nation? So 2014, Narendra Modi came to the scene. And his first speech from the rampart of the Red Fort, if you all remember in 2014, was on the basics, Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. How to behave yourself, how to make women safe. Those are cultural issues. If you don't fix the cultural issues, no matter how much you talk about big things, you cannot change on the ground. The basic quality of a human being, how you should behave, how you should talk, how one should live, how your surroundings should be. These cultural issues are the basic thing which drive a nation towards greatness. Even if I'm extremely intelligent, it will be no meaning if I can't live a normal, standard, civilized lifestyle. So from there, I have seen India was, as a nation we existed, but it was totally fragmented. Only a section of the people were there up, traveling around the world and seeing the standards and enjoying life or access to the basic amenities, but the rest of the people are totally left behind. So after 2014, first of all, the most important scheme which Prime Minister launched, which actually I felt that that is the real beginning of the whole nation to grow together. So the financial inclusivity is such a critical thing. So the Jan Dhan Yojana was launched in a very early time of Modi ji's tenure. And I went to my home state to launch the scheme. The scheme launched by the central government, but for the grassroots, for the local people, for the villagers, How can it be that India, a growing nation, but 70% of the people do not have bank accounts? How will you include them into the financial system of the nation? And many people still didn't understand that time. They said, खाता तो खोल दिया, पैसा कहाँ है? Account तो बना दिया, account में पैसा कौन डालेगा? This kind of attitude, because that was what legacy we had carried on for a long time. अब पता चला ना वो जनधन खाता का क्या मतलब होता है. The Jain Trinity, जनधन से, आधार से, मोबाइल से, how the digital transformation is taking place. The person sitting in a remote corner in one of the village in my constituency, there were only 4 voters. So 4 voters, the entire election team used to go there to conduct election. Takes 3-4 days on foot. So the person who is sitting there today, he has got the road connectivity, बिजली मिल गया, पानी मिल गया. And more important, दिल्ली से मोदी जी एक बटन दबाता है और उसका अकाउंट में पैसा तुरंत पहुंच जाता है. So the critical steps which were initiated in the very initial stage of Modi ji's tenure had actually kicked off the transformation what we are seeing today. So the development at the local level is key to the national growth. You have given a right title here, strengthening the local roots. At the same time, I always said politically and socially that every part of India is equally important. I am used to, hear this line that people are to be brought into the mainstream. इसको भी mainstream में जोड़ना है, कश्मीर वाला को भी mainstream, तमिलनाडु mainstream, मणिपुर mainstream. लेकिन mainstream है क्या? For me, every part of this country, and to be honest, wherever I stand, wherever I live, that is the mainstream. Every part of India is mainstream. So the root of India's development has to begin from the ground level, from the grassroots level. So that is how a nation of 1.4 billion people, if you get the energy from every corner, every village, every individual, you can imagine the power of India. 140 crore plus population, if every Indian is empowered, you just can imagine the power of India. That is what Modi ji had said. If 140 crore people take one step, it becomes 140 crore steps. So that is how we have to understand our potential. Nobody can be left behind. So slowly now I have realized that we are unleashing India's true potential. But at the same time, we have to realize that we are a democratic nation. Everything is not smooth. Everything is not as what we want to. Some of the important reforms which Prime Minister had initiated got slowed down because of the social and the political combination, the politics which are played, which are extremely detrimental to India's growth. But at the same time, being a democratic nation, we have to listen to everybody. Sometimes every argument would sound to be correct, but then there are some arguments which would be preferred to catapult India to the next stage of our journey. I come from a small village which you can imagine I got road connectivity only in 2007. It was slightly remote, but till 2007 we used to walk on foot to reach my village. And then what I have realized is today Prime Minister has very intelligently empowered the state governments. That is why the funding system, all the pattern are truly feathered in character. Many of the schemes which were meagerly funded by the central government are now handed over to the state so that the state governments can take care of themselves. They know what they need. And on the contrary, the larger picture where central government has to be their hands on are kept with the central government. So it's the railways, highways, airways, telecom, and the bigger projects remain with the central government, and the smaller micro level issues are left to the state government and subsequently to the local self-government. And I'm happy that some of our corporators, Jila Parishad members, Panchayat members are actively implementing the policy launched by the central government, but on the ground implemented by the local authorities. And another good thing what we have seen is now we have a very competitive federalism. The state governments are competing with each other. Today, the British Prime Minister is being hosted in Maharashtra. So in a way, Maharashtra has got a chance. Of course, Honorable Prime Minister has gone there for the bilateral talks, but the Maharashtra government is overall looking after the receptions and all other sideline business meetings and everything. So in this manner, the states are getting their due, they are getting their space, and they are going abroad, getting their necessary investment. I realize that the competitive federalism what we have in India right now is the right approach to make India a developed country. Now, we also feel that when country reaches a milestone, there must be occasion to celebrate. As I stated, we have already crossed 78 years of our independence. So we want to celebrate Viksit Bharat when India celebrates its centenary years of independence. So Prime Minister has given a target that 2047 India has to become a developed country. There should be no excuse. Now, we have limited time. What we could not achieve in 78 years, we have to achieve in 22 years. Some people might think just by stretch of time calculation, that जो हम 78 years में नहीं कर पाया, हम 22 साल में कैसे करेंगे? Natural question. So, my outlook is very simple. Now, if you see from 2014 to 2025, in 11 years, from 10th position to 4th position in terms of the size of GDP, we have made a quantum jump. In this speed, in this scale, I don't think 22 years is a difficult task for us. Because today, the global situation, I may not require to explain you about the macroeconomic situation globally, but I must tell this that today the entire globe is facing slowdown. When the whole country is growing at 8% per annual GDP, it is nothing extraordinary that India achieved 8% GDP. So 2004 to 2008, India was growing above 8%. I was in parliament. We were happy. We were in opposition. But India was growing at 8% because the whole world was growing at 8% and plus. Today, the whole world is growing below 3% and India is growing above 7%. That is extraordinary. That is where the real achievement lies. Imagine if the situation what we are facing now is same as what we faced in early 2000. Things would have been different. Today, every country is guided by the national need, the restrictions, the control, the tariff. All the restrictions are coming to the fore. What we have seen pre the United Nations days. What we are observing now is similar to that. Every country is becoming so restrictive in their approach. And the local feeling of nationalism, the kind of demand which we are seeing from the local level, it is very difficult for any federal government to run over the demands and the sentiments of the local people. Even in India, every state is not giving an inch when it comes to the interest of the state. The political competitiveness is also reaching a new height. And the social media is not doing any good to the situation. Social media is good for socializing, for connectivity, for keeping in touch. But you all know how it is being used. Despite the challenges what we are witnessing today, the Prime Minister's leadership, his commitment, most important is the faith of the common people on Modi's leadership. That is making India a great nation, and the whole world is reposing full faith on India because of the stability in the government, because of the maturity in our polity, because the way in which Prime Minister is projecting India's image. We are not becoming Dadagiri, but we are becoming friends of the world. That is why you have rightly given trusted global partner. India is well today poised to become a trusted partner of every nation. Though some of the adverse nations are also coming forward to work with India because they see India is another name for opportunity. So today, when we are fourth largest economy, we have to be well prepared because not far away we would be the third largest economy. है ना, थर्ड बोलने में तो ज़्यादा अच्छा लगता है ना फोर्थ से ज़्यादा. फोर्थ doesn't have medals normally. Medal तो 3 तक ही होता है, फर्स्ट सेकंड थर्ड. So there's a huge gap between fourth and third. 1, 2, 3 उसमें आप रैंकिंग में आ जाते हैं. तो अब 4 से हम 3 की ओर जा रहे हैं. तो naturally as a citizen of world's third largest economy, which Indian would not walk around with full pride around the world कि हम वर्ल्ड का तीसरे सबसे बड़े अर्थव्यवस्था का एक नागरिक है. So every nation will think that my nation should be the leading nation in the world. तो आज का इस परिस्थिति में I just would like to make few concluding remarks. As I said in the beginning, I really do not want to make a speech that might be boring. And if I talk about the financial system, economy, you all are masters in that field. But as a member in the government, I understand my responsibility. As a democratic nation, as a vibrant parliamentary democracy, we have very critical responsibility in our hands. People trust when the democracy thrives. कभी कभी लोग पार्लियामेंट में हंगामा होता है, लोग देखता है, मुझे भी पूछता है कि पार्लियामेंट में इतना हंगामा क्यों होता है, पार्लियामेंट में काम ही नहीं होता है. There are gaps which people's perception and the reality. ऐसा नहीं है पार्लियामेंट में काम नहीं होता है, कभी कभी काम नहीं होता है, ये सच है. लेकिन वो ऑपोजिशन पार्टी कभी कुछ हंगामा करता है या ऐसा कुछ काम कर देता है तो उसमें हम लोग उसको स्पेस देते हैं, इज्जत देते हैं, तो पार्लियामेंट उस समय स्थगित हो जाता है. सो पार्लियामेंट डू गेट एडजॉर्नमेंट, बट दैट इज ओनली व्हेन देयर आर हेवी रकस, द सीन्स क्रिएटेड बाय द ऑपोजिशन पार्टी. बट आई वेलकम all hangamas in the parliament if it is based on some worthy of raising those issues, the issues which are concerning the nation. मुद्दा कोई भी इशू हो, बड़ा मुद्दा हो, तो फिर पार्लियामेंट में हंगामा नहीं होगा तो किधर होगा. पार्लियामेंट इज अ प्लेटफॉर्म वेयर पीपल फ्रॉम डिफरेंट आइडियोलॉजीज एंड डिफरेंट सेटअप दे रिप्रेजेंट, and that is a voice of the people. अपना अपना राज्य का बात उठाते हैं वहां में, अपना अपना आइडियोलॉजी का बात रखता है. तो if I think that all the opposition party will speak like me, it will never happen. So in a parliament platform where so many diverse people come from different background, there is bound to be some kind of ruckus. तो मुझे जब बोलता है कि पार्लियामेंट में हंगामा होता है, तो मैं बोला कि पार्लियामेंट में हंगामा नहीं होगा तो किधर होगा, पार्लियामेंट में ही तो होगा. तो इसीलिए my request to our learned audience is, don't get dejected by this news report that parliament चलता नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है। जब चलना होगा पार्लियामेंट और देश के लिए काम करना होगा तो कोई हंगामा पार्लियामेंट को रोक नहीं सकता है, पार्लियामेंट बिल पास करके ही छोड़ेगा। इन द लास्ट monsoon session, the first 2 weeks, the opposition party created ruckus and we could not pass any bills. I kept on discussing with the opposition leaders. I kept on pleading with them, let us debate, discuss. All these critical bills are coming. Let us have an intense debate on each provision of those proposed bills. But finally, when the political interest overtakes the national interest, you don't listen. Then ultimately, we had to pass those critical bills in the दिन। हंगामा था, लेकिन हम लोगों ने बिल पास किया। गवर्नमेंट है तो मेजोरिटी है तो बिल पास करना पड़ेगा, देश को तो चलाना है। And if you, I don't want to go into detail, if you see all the 14 bills what we had passed in the last monsoon session are such huge, critically essential for the national growth. Even उसमें जो ऑनलाइन गेमिंग का बिल हमने पास किया है, it was so essential, otherwise the new generation we are going towards a trap. So it's a very interesting parliamentary democracy. So my plea to the people of the country is, never get dejected by the system what we have. You may be disappointed at times because of the outcomes, but this is the best system available anywhere in the world. The second thing which I want to also touch upon is, you might keep hearing about संविधान को बचाना है, you know, save the constitution, और कोई कोई तो छोटा छोटा किताब लेके घूमता है संविधान का। मैं पूछता हूँ, पहले तो वो जो हाथ में किताब रखा है उसको पढ़ लो पूरा। You must read the provisions and understand the essence of the constitution book which you carry. The intention of the constitution makers, the fathers of the Indian constitution, उनका व्यू, बाबा साहब भीमराव अंबेडकर का इंटेंशन को समझ लो। किताब लहराने से कुछ नहीं होता है। So be assured, ये जो आप न्यूज़ कभी कभी इधर उधर सुनते हैं ना, डिस्ट्रप्शन होता है समाज में, इंडिया में नहीं हो सकता है, क्योंकि the Indian Constitution is so intelligently prepared and created that all the challenges which are foreseeable in the future, anything might come, are addressed in the Constitution. Our Constitution is not only the biggest Constitution in the world, but it is also the best Constitution in the world. इतना खूबसूरत है हमारा संविधान, और उसी संविधान के स्पिरिट से हम लोग काम कर रहे हैं। और जो संविधान को नहीं मानता है वो संविधान बचाना है बोलता है, और जो संविधान को बचाता है उसको इल्जाम लगाते हैं संविधान को खतरा में है। वो होता है कभी कभी, जो सुबह से रात तक जो बोलते रहता है वही कंप्लेन करता है कि बोलने का आजादी नहीं है। इट हैपेंस, डेमोक्रेटिक कंट्री है, फ्रीडम ऑफ एक्सप्रेशन है। आई कैन स्टॉप एनी अदर पर्सन फ्रॉम स्पीकिंग हिज माइंड। दैट इज द ब्यूटी ऑफ आवर डेमोक्रेसी। तो ये होगा, हंगामा होगा, यहाँ धरना भी होगा, स्ट्राइक भी होगा, ये हमारा डेमोक्रेसी है। बट हमारा जो बिजनेस कम्युनिटी है, इंडस्ट्री के लोग हैं, आई मस्ट टेल यू, प्लीज बी एश्योर्ड, इंडिया विल नेवर फेस ए सिचुएशन वेयर यू विल फील दैट इस देश का कुछ नहीं हो सकता है। आपको आगे चल करके ऐसा आप महसूस करेगा कि हम किस्मत वाले हैं कि हम इंडिया में जन्मे हुए हैं और हमारा बिजनेस भी इंडिया में है। सो वन बाय वन the steps which we are taking is for ease of doing business and ease of living. These are the two basic themes which our approach are based on. Prime Minister is extremely careful. आज भी मैं सोचता हूं कि हमने 1500 कानून जो अननेसेसरी फंसाने के लिए, तंग करने के लिए बना के अंग्रेजों ने रखा हुआ है, हमने हटा दिया है। मैं ये सोचता हूं तो प्राइम मिनिस्टर फिर से एक नया सोच के फिर आता है, इसको भी हटाना है। ये भी बिजनेस वालों को तंग कर रहा है, ये भी किसी आम आदमी को तंग कर रहा है। minimum interference of the government into the life of the common people. So the burden of compliance has to be minimum. सरकार लोगों का जिंदगी में क्यों बोझ बनना है, यही हमारा सबसे बड़ा थीम है प्राइम मिनिस्टर मोदी जी का. ये हमेशा इसका सोच में नंबर 1 ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस, नंबर 2 ईज ऑफ लिविंग. तो इसमें नाउ another bill, Jan Vishwas bill, which has been referred to a select committee of the Lok Sabha. I don't know how many of you have gone through the provisions. Some of you might be appearing in the parliamentary committee. You will see that after the second Jan Vishwas bill is passed, we are likely to bring into the winter session of the parliament, most of the remaining unnecessary hurdles are going to be removed. And many provisions have no business to remain in the statute books, which are unnecessarily occupying the provisions in the acts. These are going to be removed. And that is not going to be the end of the effort. We are going to approach with a clear heart that our duty is to serve the nation, not to rule the nation. And our idea of coming to the power is to make India a Viksit Bharat. There's no second agenda whatsoever in our minds. So in this kind of business summit, in this kind of celebration, we are here to understand that we are partners. The government, the industry, the people, we are all partners. We have to work together. I'm very happy that the team which are today holding the charges of the PhD, Chambers of Commerce and Industry, you are all experts in your domain. Through your own companies, through yourself, you have done so much service to various sections of the society. But through this PHDCCI, you have emerged as a great component which will catapult India to fulfill our dream of Viksit Bharat. Today, I'm happy that you have come to my chamber and we discussed a bit that day, and I'm here today with you. And the theme which you have given to me, I just would like to end with the last thing about the vocal for local, and I will close my brief remarks. Recently, Prime Minister launched the reduction of GST and the GST Mahotsav from Arunachal Pradesh, my state. Prime Minister came there, he interacted with the local entrepreneurs, some of the local shopkeepers, and he launched on 22nd of September. And I realized, at that time I mentioned in my speech, that Prime Minister has launched this beautiful scheme, beautiful program from Arunachal, which is the land of rising sun. So anything which is launched in Arunachal Pradesh will spread in the nation like sun rays. सबको सब धूप मिल जाएगा, उजाला होगा. It is a very good omen जो पूर्व से शुरू होता है. तो उस समय what we said, vocal for local, I would like to just make a few points. We grew up and we saw some of the important items those days, and we used to take immense pride that I own an important item. और जिसका पास कैमरा जापानीज मेड है, मेड इन जापान, तो वो तो किसी से बात ही नहीं करता है. मेरा पास तो जापान का कैमरा है. और जिन्होंने स्विट्जरलैंड का स्विस वॉच पहन लिया, तो वो तो खुला के बार बार दिखाएगा, देखो मेरा स्विस वॉच है. Anything made in foreign countries were a huge source of pride for our society. आज भी जब आप फैशन का बात करते हैं, तो if you wear Italian shoe or Italian shirt, Italian design clothes, you feel immense pride. Nothing wrong in that. Let me be very clear. लेकिन उससे ज़्यादा प्राइड होना चाहिए when you wear India made clothes or shoes or anything. ये पैदा करना ही पड़ेगा. ये अगर हम पैदा नहीं कर पाएगा तो आत्मनिर्भर नहीं होगा, आत्मनिर्भर नहीं होगा तो फिर विकसित भारत कैसे होगा? सो इंस्टेड ऑफ displaying proudly that I sell imported items, you must display I sell स्वदेशी माल, मेड इन इंडिया प्रोडक्ट्स। और पहनने वाला भी जो कंज्यूमर्स है वो भी, बट इसमें प्राइम मिनिस्टर ने क्लैरिफाई कर ही दिया है, टेक्नोलॉजी में भी सोर्स फ्रॉम एनी कंट्री, डिजाइन कहीं का भी इटालियन डिजाइन हो लेकिन मेड इन इंडिया करो ना। अगर गुच्ची का बैग बनाना है तो वो इंडिया में बनाओ, यहीं सिखाओ, यहीं बनाओ और बोलो कि डिजाइन इटाली का लेकिन मेड इन इंडिया है। हमको यही बनाना पड़ेगा, मेड इन इंडिया एंड मेड फॉर द वर्ल्ड। सो जो वोकल फॉर लोकल का इशू है, राइट फ्रॉम नॉर्मल एग्रीकल्चरल प्रोड्यूसर्स टू हाईटेक आइटम्स, वी हैव टू मेक ourselves self-reliant. There is no second option when we talk about making India a विकसित भारत। मेरा भी अभी भी कुछ आइटम्स आ जाता है कहीं से इंपोर्टेड, या कोई गिफ्ट देता है या कहीं से हम जाता है तो खरीद लेता है। लेकिन मेरा कहने का ये है कि गिवन ए चॉइस यू मस्ट प्रिफर मेड इन इंडिया। ये प्रेफरेंस करना पड़ेगा। आपका फैक्ट्री खोला है, विदेश में एक्सपोर्ट करना है, लेकिन पहले तो माल हमारा यहाँ तो लोग खरीदे, यहां खरीदेंगे, एक्सेस होगा, हम एक्सपोर्ट भी करेंगे। क्वालिटी हो या क्वांटिटी, हमको बढ़ाना है, स्पीड एंड स्केल बढ़ाना है। तो इसमें मेरा सिर्फ आपसे अपील इतना ही है, जैन साहब, आपके टीम को, कि आपके पीएचडी चैम्बर्स ऑफ कॉमर्स एंड इंडस्ट्री में आप इसको किस तरीके से इस थीम को आगे ले जाना है कि एनीबॉडी एसोसिएटेड विद योर ग्रुप फोकस ऑन एनीथिंग बट मेड इन इंडिया। अब कोई भी फॉरेनर आएगा आपके पास तालमेल करने के लिए, बोलिए कि आप टेक्नोलॉजी शेयर कीजिए बट मेक इन इंडिया। किसी तरह से हमारा देश को आत्मनिर्भर बनाना ही पड़ेगा, एंड इट हैज टू बी ए मूवमेंट। इट कैनॉट सक्सीड विद मेयर स्लोगन्स। वी कैनॉट अचीव आवर ड्रीम्स इफ वी limit it to a section of the society. It has to be in the heart and soul and minds of every Indian. वो बनाना पड़ेगा। और ये मैं चाहता हूँ कि आपका जो इतना खूबसूरत आपने थीम दिया है, एंड डिफरेंट सेशन हैव डिफरेंट थीम्स, आई एम हैविंग नो डाउट इन माई माइंड दैट आफ्टर द फुल सेशन इन योर event, you will come out with some great ideas, and you can come back with me and share. My humble contribution will be always there whenever you require me. मैं मंत्री तो ठीक है बन गया, बनाया गया, मोदी जी ने, लोगों ने मुझे एमपी बनाया, लेकिन है तो एक भारतीय, एज एन इंडियन वी मस्ट मेक whatever possible contribution at our own level. So thank you ladies and gentlemen. As I promised that I will not make a speech, I stuck to my promise. मैंने भाषण नहीं दिया, मैंने जो भी बोला है दिल से बोला है। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। जय हिंद।
वीके न्यूज, राष्ट्र के नाम।